November 24th, Gateway Residential Community and Support Services presents a webinar. It's called Change the Perspective. It focuses on recovery from mental health problems, addiction, and homelessness. Guest speaker Mark Hall will be part of it. He joins us now on The Source. Mark, you'll be sharing your own story next Wednesday. Can we hear a little bit of it here on The Source?
Yeah, basically I grew up in foster homes as a young child in England. As I got older, I struggled with mental health and addictions problems. I ended up homeless last year. I had some problems with the law and some difficulties, and I've been in recovery now for about a year. And I struggled in the mental health system and the homelessness system, but I'm making a full recovery and doing well these days.
As you're in these early stages of your recovery, what made you decide to share the story with others?
I think the story needs to be shared because, it helps give people, it helps put a face to the story. There's a large number of people who are going through similar experiences to me, and to put a face to it and to humanize it and to break down some of the stigma and to realize that, these people are just normal folks trying to do the best they can. And a lot of times they're not, they don't choose to be in the situation that they're in. So to break down the stigma of that.
There's 5 others, I believe, that are also sharing their stories on the 24th.
That's correct. Yeah.
Have the 6 of you gotten together and shared your stories with each other prior to the event?
Oh yeah, we practice our stories and we've shared our stories. We're close friends, so we know our stories kind of inside out. And there's some similarities between some of the stories, and there's some differences as well. And so that's a nice thing because you get a wide array of stories covering different issues.
Can you tell me how the webinar will go? What actually happens during, is it 1 hour?
It's usually between an hour and a half. And like I said at the beginning, we have like kind of like a true or false section. Then we have the speeches. We have a mindful minute in between the speech, where I'm also doing mindfulness as part of another project that we do. And so we do a mindful minute, and then at the end we do a question and answer for the audience so that they can participate.
Mark, this is being presented by Gateway Residential and Community Support Services. Have you worked with them prior to this webinar?
Yeah, actually I did. I was a peer support worker back in 2016. I went on to be a group home worker, and I was an outreach worker for working with the chronically homeless as well. So I've worked with them in the past as well.
Who came up with this idea of having a webinar?
The original idea for CTP was my idea, but we were kind of forced into this due to COVID. We were doing it in person, but we were kind of forced into it because of COVID, like I said, and so we do it on Zoom because it's too dangerous to do it in the community at this point.
Mark, I've met people who have suffered from homelessness and addiction, and once they are in recovery, often I find they do share their stories in a platform like this webinar. Is that part of your recovery process?
It helps a great deal. It gives validation. It gives you some validation. It shows you that, your story your story didn't just not mean anything. That the suffering that you went through and the hard times that you went through, it wasn't just meaningless. It's giving you a purpose to share your story and hopefully affect someone else when they're struggling, and if they're going through a hard time, that you can show them that, hey, I was this far down, but I managed to climb out of it, and there is hope. So it gives other people hope, and that in turn helps yourself as well, because you feel that there's a sense of purpose behind what you went through.
Mark, how can people find the webinar on the 24th?
I believe there's a link that the Family Support Network has sent out. So I believe I'm not sure. I think that's how they're marketing it through the Family Support Network.
Thanks for joining us, and good luck with the webinar.
Thanks so much. Take care.